The phone rang sharply at 2 in the morning, shaking me from a deep sleep. Karen's voice blasted through the speaker, full of fake outrage and panic. She accused me of trying to kill her family by letting them float away. I sat up in bed with a slow, satisfied smile spreading across my face. But to understand this moment, I need to take you back a year. I had moved into this quiet suburban neighborhood called Oakwood Lakes last summer. My house came with a beautiful private dock right on the bay leading to the sea. I owned a sleek 30-foot boat that I loved taking out on weekends. Little did I know the HOA president named Karen would turn my life into hell. She started small with a polite but firm letter about my grass being too long. I mowed it the next morning without complaint, keeping my cool the whole time. Then she complained about the color of my boat cover clashing with standards. I changed it to the approved beige even though it looked boring as hell. Her control freak nature only grew stronger with every small victory she claimed. She began showing up unannounced for random inspections of my property line. Her tone was always condescending, as if she owned the entire neighborhood. I stayed calm and documented every interaction with hidden cameras and notes. The rumors started circulating at the monthly HOA meetings I forced myself to attend. People whispered that I was unfriendly and possibly hiding something suspicious behind my fence. Karen's daughter Melissa even cornered me once at the community pool with a sneer. "You think you're better than us with that fancy boat of yours?" she asked loudly. I just smiled politely and walked away, but inside I was quietly boiling with rage. The harassment escalated when Karen started fining me for every little thing imaginable. Unpaid fines led to threats of liens on my house, which felt completely ridiculous. I hired a lawyer quietly and began building my case against her power abuse. One fateful weekend, I returned home early from a work trip feeling exhausted. Music blared from my dock and the smell of barbecue filled the evening air. There on my boat was Karen's whole entitled family throwing a massive unauthorized party. Melissa danced wildly with her friends while Karen's husband grilled hot dogs carelessly. Balloons and streamers decorated the deck as drinks flowed way too freely. They had clearly broken onto my private property without any permission whatsoever. I walked down to the dock with my heart pounding but my face perfectly calm. Karen spotted me and waved with a smug grin plastered across her face. "Oh, don't be such a killjoy, it's just a little family fun," she called out. Her words dripped with hypocrisy as she sipped her wine like a queen. Melissa laughed loudly and added that the HOA said community resources were for everyone. I nodded slowly, pretending to agree while my mind raced with perfect plans. Instead of yelling, I went back inside and checked my security footage immediately. The cameras had captured everything, including Karen unlocking my gate earlier that day. She had even texted Melissa saying the boat was fair game for board members only. That was the golden mistake. I needed the undeniable proof of her overstepping. I continued recording secretly as the party grew louder and increasingly rowdier. They damaged a railing, spilled sticky beer everywhere, and left trash all over my deck. The warm bay breeze carried their laughter mixed with the salty sea smell. As the sun set and the outgoing tide began to strengthen, I made my calculated move. I slipped down to the dock in the deepening shadows unnoticed by the drunk group. With steady hands, I untied the mooring lines one by one very carefully. Then I gave the heavy boat a gentle shove toward the strong current. It began to drift slowly, at first away from the dock into open water. The party continued unaware for a few more minutes with loud laughter echoing. Suddenly screams erupted as they realized the boat was moving on its own. Melissa yelled in panic, asking what the hell was happening and who could help. Karen fumbled desperately for her phone, her face turning bright red with fury. She dialed 911, screaming that I had sabotaged the boat on purpose to hurt them. Police sirens wailed in the distance as the boat picked up real speed now. I stood on the shore with arms crossed, watching the scene with quiet satisfaction. When the officers finally arrived, they found me waiting calmly with all evidence ready.
Thank you, sir.
I showed them the clear videos of the trespass and Karen's own incriminating texts. The family was eventually rescued by the Coast Guard, wet, embarrassed, and furious. But the real justice came at the emergency HOA board meeting the very next day. I presented the full dossier, including emails where Karen claimed ownership over private property. The board members sat stunned and immediately voted to remove her as president on the spot. Karen sat there completely shocked as her little empire crumbled right in front of everyone. Melissa glared at me with pure hatred but said nothing as the truth sank in deep. The neighbors who had believed her rumors now looked away in uncomfortable silence. Now the neighborhood breathes easier without her tyrannical rules hanging over every little thing. No more ridiculous fines or surprise inspections for trivial matters like grass length. I enjoy my boat in complete peace and the dock stays wonderfully quiet again. Sometimes I sit out there at dusk with a cold beer in my relaxed hand. The water laps gently against the pilings, reminding me of that perfect chaotic night. And I can't help but chuckle softly at how one loose rope corrected a tyrant so easily. Power in small places always corrupts, but karma sure has a funny way of floating back.